All right, awesome. So I always try to base the daily trainings off of what I feel like a lot of people are struggling with, or the most questions I get, or the questions I get the most throughout the week. So a question that comes up pretty often is that people really don't know what to focus on or what to look at, because there's too much stuff going on in the chart. And the question that comes up a lot is always like, which candle should I be looking at? How far back in the past should I go to? So if you've been struggling with like what to actually look at on the chart, like what are the educators looking at? What are the SBC hosts looking at when they call these trades? If that's something that you've struggled with, just drop "it's me" in the chat, right? Because what I'm going to show you guys today isn't going to be anything new, but it is just going to be a different way to pretty much look at the chart so that you can have something to pinpoint and actually focus on. So we are going to be using the Liberty Scanner per usual. And just so that we take it from the top, as always, we're just going to go through the steps, right? Because every time I do this, I call this the checklist. I have a video on this as well, and these are the steps that you should never, ever, ever skip when you are going to trade, right? So first, we're going to get into the HFX trading checklist, which is what you do before every single session. Then we're actually going to get into the what I'm going to be calling the VVS method, because instead of using horizontal lines, right, or instead of focusing on the horizontal lines, we're really going to focus on the vertical lines so that we have some direction of what we're looking at. I did not drop the trading plan in the chat, but somebody please remind me after, and I will go ahead and drop it. So I am going to share my screen, and we're just going to get started with the trading checklist. So if you've never seen my HFX trading checklist video, if you've never been on a live HFX trading checklist session, then you are going to want to write this down. No matter how long you've been trading, if you've never been on an HFX trading list training, you definitely want to take notes. So I'm going to share my screen. Just drop some threes in the chat. Throughout this training, I start breaking up, drop fours, and it's happening now. Thankfully, I didn't get kicked out. I'm not sure if Zoom is working out. Okay, I see the threes now. So let me actually turn off the chat for 1 second so I can write something that you guys can see. Right, so it's going to be 333. You can see 444 if I am breaking up, 1 if I am good. All right, awesome. So the very first step, before we get into any trade, and again, this is for new traders or anybody who's not familiar with the HFX trading checklist. I always like to open all of my tabs beforehand, but HFX trading checklist. Step 1 is check the news, always and forever. You never just want to go into the market and start clicking buttons. A really good analogy I heard is that when you go to a fast food restaurant, you want to know what you want to get before you pretty much get there. You're gonna look at the menu, and you're gonna see what's going on. What do I want to order, right? So we try to figure out what do we want to order from the market today. So step 1 is go to forexfactory.com, and as long as you don't see a red folder next around the time that you're trading, right, then you should be fine. If you don't see a red folder around the time that you're trading, you should be fine. So I can see that the time is 10:26 a.m. I see at 10 a.m. there was a little bit of news on the USD, but I don't see a red folder, right? Orange folders means that, all right, this currency pair may be moving a little crazy, but it's nothing too serious, right? So that's step 1. Step 2, we're actually going to go to our broker. So whichever broker you use, I use pocketoption.com, right? Step 2 is you want to go to your broker and you want to select your currency pair. Ooh, 333. You want to select your currency pair based on payout, right? You want to select your currency pair based on your payout. And you always want the payout to be over 70%. So So we're going to choose AUDCAD, right? I typically just start with the first currency and work my way down the list. But if you do have a pair that you prefer, you can always go with that as well. But I'm just going to start with AUDCAD. And you want to make sure you click on it and not the star to the left of it, because the star to the left of it will just keep it at the top. And I know that can give some people anxiety because it shows you your money going up and down when you're actively in the trade. So if you don't want to see that, if that gives you anxiety, unclick the star and it'll remove it from your favorites. So step 2 is choose your currency pair based on payout. So we have AUDCAD, right? And I just keep my tabs in order. Step 3, you want to go to livecharts.uk, right? And I'll drop this link in the chat so you can save it to your notes, whether you have an iPhone or any type of phone. You should be able to save this somewhere in your phone. All right. And this is where you actually start the counter confirmations for the trade. So this is where you really want to pay attention, right? Now, when I first started trading, when I was first learning to trade, I'm just looking for a piece of paper. When I was first learning to trade, y'all, I really would write down every single thing I was doing. And this is something I encourage you to do, especially if you're a new trader or if you've been struggling with entry points, because it's not going to take that long, right? So I'm going to write down the currency pair that I'm trading, right, which is Euro CAD. And then I'm really taking a score, right, because I need to see what's happening in the market. This is my analysis before I start trading. So I'm going to put a B down for the buyers and I'm going to put an S down for the sellers, because I want to see who's actually in control right now, right? So typically when you're using the currency strength meter as a confirmation, if you see that the first currency in that currency pair, which is why you write it down if you're confused, Euro CAD, if the first currency is stronger, you're going to give the buyers 1 point. So far, the buyers are in control, right? And if the second currency would have had more bars, for example, if we were looking at, let's just say USD JPY, then the buyers would have gotten a point. If let me see, I'm trying to find one that's backwards. GBP, USD, JPY. Pretty much, if it was the other way around, like if the first currency had less bars, then that would be a point for the sellers, right? So far, we're on step 3. Now, step 4, you want to choose your strategy. So for this training today, we're going to be using the simple scalper strategy, right? And that is where the S's come from in the VVS. And the V is just standing for the vertical lines that we're going to add to our chart before we really start to look for our entry point. So before we actually get into like the strategy and finding our entry point too, we also need to understand trigger words when it comes to trading, right? And I don't know if any other educators use this, but this is just something that I say and that I teach. So we can write that down as well, the trigger words. And the trigger words are always going to be words that are describing the current candle, right? And we can also write that down because it's going to be telling us something about that candle. We need to know in relation to that candle, how does this word apply, right? So the trigger words for a buy, right? And I'll also just close the chat for a second so I can write this down and everybody can only see what I'm saying, right? So the buy trigger words are going to be, right? So it's, do you see a blue candle? Do you see any line? Do you see anything else blue in your chart? What strategy you're using? So the trigger words down. All right, I got some force. All right, it says I'm breaking up. When I get good, just drop some ones in the chat. All right, y'all said I'm good, right? So the trigger words for a buy, right, would be blue. So you want to know how blue do you see on your chart, right? Do you see majority blue? Do you see majority red? How much blue do you see on your chart, right? But you're going to ask this about every candle. Blue. Do I see a blue candle? Do I see, right, any blue lines? So that's the first trigger word for a buy. It's blue. The second trigger word is going to be above, right, or over. You can kind of put it together, right? And you just want to know, are your candles above, right, or over any other indicators that are currently on the chart? So if we're using a simple scalper 2.0 strategy, we're going to notice these dots, right? And the candles, right? Because remember, every trigger word is in relation to candles. Candles can either be above the dots or below the dots. So if the trigger word for a buy is above and over, we're going to ask ourselves, are candles above our dots, right? Is the candle above the dot? Or any lines at that matter, is the candle above the dots? Lines, clouds, etc, other indicators, right? And I'm literally writing all in the chat right now, right? So that's another trigger word for a buy. Whenever you see it happening, you should automatically look. Like, even though this is a red candle, but you see the red candle is above the dot, right? We know that that would be a trigger word or a point for the buyers. Now, if you're using another strategy, another trigger word that might come up is up. And this is in regard to any line indicator. Like, you'll notice this on simple scalper, like you'll see the RSI and the stochastic at the bottom. You just want to know, are the lines facing up, right? Because on any line indicator, it don't matter what it is, the CCI, the RSI, the stochastic, the MACD, like if the line is facing up, right, that means the market is going up. Are the lines facing up, right? Those are all going to be associated with a buy. And when you see those things, you could be like, okay, cool. And then, of course, the sell would just be the opposite, right? So I'm going to type the sell words in the chat. So the sell words would be red, right? You just want to know, do I see a red candle? Do I see a red candle or any red lines? Right? And for every red thing you see, that's 1 point for the sellers. For every blue thing you see, that's a point for the buyers. So then the next thing for a sell would be under, above, but it'll be under or lower, right? So I'm gonna write this down, under or lower. So you need to know this before we actually get into the strategy, right? And then you want to know, is the candle, you can apply this to web slinger, simple scalper 1.0, pickpocket, is the candle under or below the dots, lines, clouds, etc, right? Other indicators. So you can ask yourself these questions, or you can just go with the trigger words, because you should be able to speed through this. And then, of course, you'll want to know, are the lines facing down? Right? So now that we have those trigger words in our minds, I'm just going to briefly just go through that really quickly, and then we're actually going to get into adding the lines on this chart to find our entry point. So if I was to look at this candle right here, right? If I was to just look at this candle right here, I can see the trigger words, right? I can see a red candle, right? I can see it under the purple dot. I can see red. I can see red. I can see red, right? So I know that that will be a good selling candle simply because it aligns with more of the selling trigger words than the buying trigger words, right? It aligns with more of the selling trigger words than the buying trigger words. So if y'all can see why that candle is a good candle for a sell based on that simple concept of trigger words, right? Just drop a yes in the chat. If you do not see that, drop a no in the chat. All right, so we got some yeses, we got some nos, we got some yeses, mainly yeses, right? Mainly yeses. So I'm gonna show you guys what it will look like for a buy candle as well, right? So for somebody who said they didn't understand, when you're looking at the market, and I'm gonna make it even simpler than this, but I have to teach this basic concept before every training because you can apply it to every single strategy. So each candle, right? A buy, anything that's blue is going to be associated with the market going up. It's telling you that there are currently more buyers than sellers in the market, and the price is going to continue to go up from whatever the current price is right now. If we're in the market, we know that that's a good thing, because if we're going in for a buy, we need the market to go up. Because in order to clear, right, for a buy, you need the market to be higher than your entry point. So you want to see all those confirmations align, telling you that, all right, I'm going to get in for a buy, because 9 times out of 10, the market's going to keep going up. If you're going in for a sell, you want everything to be associated with red, because red means that there are currently more sellers in the market. And the certain indicators are telling you if the market is going to continue to go in that direction based on How many sellers are in the market? How strong is their selling power, right? How strong is their influence to continue to drive the market down? Are they able to bring in other sellers, and that's what's driving the market down? Are there just a lot of sellers with a lot of momentum that's driving the market down, right? And that's what these indicators are telling you. So again, in regards to the trigger words, if you were to come into this market and you currently saw this candle forming, right? You would say, okay, I see a blue candle. And remember, we wrote it down. So I'm gonna give 1 point to the buyers, right? I see that the blue candle is above that purple dot, because remember, the above and over is always in relation to the candle, right? So the candle must be above all other lines, clouds, dots, and anything in order for that to be a point for the buyers. So I'm gonna give the buyers another point, right? So far, they have a point from the currency strength meter. They have a point just because we know they're currently in control if it's a blue candle. They have a point because the market is above the trend, which is it's above this purple dot. That's what it's telling us. And then we also have a blue line down here, right? That's another trigger word for a buy. So we can give the buyers another point. And not only is that a blue line, but we can see that the line can also be facing down. This line is facing up, right? So we can get them another point. So for that's 5. We only need at least 3 points or 3 confirmations to go ahead and know that the market is going to continue to go in this direction, right? But the more confirmations you collect, you just increase your chances of clearing because everything is aligning, right? Because everything is aligning. Now, if we go down to our third window, right, we're going to see a blue cloud and we're going to see a blue line. So I know that based on this candle, this is a really good candle to buy. And if we would have got in, we would have cleared because we can see that the next candle was also blue, right? The next candle was also blue. So that's how the trigger words play in relation to the candles, in relation to everything. So in this case, we had, I'm just showing you guys what I wrote down. I wrote down EuroCAD, right? I wrote down a B for the buyers, a S for the sellers. And then the buyers have 5 points and the sellers have 0. So on this particular trade, I know that I would have wanted to focus on the buy and not the sell, simply because everything about this chart is telling me that the market is going in that direction. So yes, drop a MS if that makes sense. And then I'm going to show you guys how to use this information, right, to find your entry points on this strategy. So just to recap, right, just to recap. Step 1, check the news. We know we're in the clear. Step 2, choose your currency pair. We chose AUD CAD, so everybody can switch to that currency pair. Step 3 is to check your currency strength and to start to count your indicators, right? So we got AUD CAD. Let me write this down. AUD CAD. I'm gonna write down my B. I'm gonna write down my S. And for AUD CAD, it looks like the AUD, which is the first currency, is a little bit weaker than the second currency, which is the CAD. So somebody tell me, who gets the first point in this battle, the buyers or the sellers? Just drop a B or S in the chat, right? And we're going to count this confirmations, right? Yep, so it's going to be the sellers. It's going to be the sellers. Remember, if the first currency, this is why you want to write it down, especially as a new trader, if the first currency is more bars, the buyers get 1 point. If the second currency is more bars, the sellers are going to get 1 point. So, all right, the sellers got 1 point for now on AUD-CAD. Step 4, we're going to choose our strategy. And in this case, we're going to be using the Simple Scalper 2.0 strategy. So you go to your goliberty.im. This is how you access your scanner, goliberty.im. And I'll drop this in the chat as well. Because some people just try to type liberty.im, but it's goliberty.im. You use your same login. If you have any issues, just reach out to support. They are very helpful. But if you are able to log in, you're going to select the strategy. There's 4 different ones you can choose, which means there's 4 different ways you can look at the charts to start learning how to trade HFX. But today, I'm going to use Simple Scalper 2.0. So after you choose your strategy, you really just want to also make sure you select your currency pair. We have to make sure that the currency pair that we're trading, which is AC, is the same currency pair that we're scanning, right? So in order to change your currency, you just click on your screen and do AUD, CAD. And for this particular method that I'm about to show you guys, which is just a little tweak that I added to the simple scalper strategy, we're always going to work on the M5, right? You're always going to work on the M5. And you can write that down. The number here, right? If we're doing M5, that means we have 5 minutes to make an analysis and make a decision, right? We have 5 minutes to make an analysis and make a decision versus only having 60 seconds to make an analysis or make a decision. Like if somebody walked up to you and said, hey, what do you want to eat? Tell me what you want to eat right now. You would be like, I wasn't even thinking about food right now. But if they said, hey, I'm about to get something to eat, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'll ask you in 5 minutes what you want to eat. You'll be like, all right, cool. Like, would you feel better about the person just asking you 1 minute or the person giving you 5 minutes? Drop that in the chat, 1 or 5, right? 1 or 5. What would make you feel better if you had to make a decision? 5, right? So this is why we want to pay attention to the M5 chart when trading the simple scalper strategy, right? We want to know what's happening in the last 5 minutes. We don't want to be so pressed. So the first thing you do after you select your strategy, your currency pair, 5 minutes, because now we know why, we're going to start to add the vertical lines to our chart. And this is going to be super crucial, right? Oh, another thing. In the corner right here on this strategy or any strategy, you want to click this little sun. It's really your settings. And you want to make sure that you have your countdown to bar close on. That's very crucial because it's going to tell you when the next candle is going to form. So we know the next candle is going to form in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. But we're gonna just wait for that. We're gonna wait for that. But this is how you want to start to set up your chart. So on this left panel over here, you're gonna see a bunch of different settings. The second one down is your different lines, right? So instead of using a horizontal line, we are gonna get to that. Today, we're gonna be using 2 vertical lines so that we can actually decipher which candle should we actually be getting these confirmations on. So let's just say, I'm so used to horizontal, vertical line, right? So I'm gonna click on the vertical line. I'm gonna change the color to black and I'm gonna make the line thicker just so we can see it, right? And what you're gonna do, because this is so crucial, all you're gonna be doing for this entire strategy, you are gonna add 4 lines. You're gonna add 2 vertical lines and you're gonna add 2 horizontal lines. So the first vertical line is gonna go to the to the left of the current candle. We got 15 seconds, so we're gonna wait for this next candle to start to form, right? But we're going to put 1 vertical line to the left of the candle, and we're going to put 1 vertical line to the right of the candle, right? And the only candle that we care about for our entry point is going to be the candle between that 2 lines. And this is about to be so easy, right? It's not going to get easier than this. I can assure you. I can assure you. Watch this video 500 times if you have to. So we have a vertical line to the left, and we have a vertical line to the right. Okay, so based on what we're looking at, y'all, are we going to be focused on the buy or the sell for now, right? Just based on the color of the current candle. All right, Nick says sell. Y'all say buy. Y'all say buy. Some people say buy. Well, nobody's really right or wrong because now, after we've established what candle we're looking at, right? Now we're going to do the same thing that we would previously do before. We're going to add our horizontal lines to find both entry points for the buy and for the sell, right? So after we choose our currency, right, that's step 4. Step 5 is going to be add a vertical line to the left and to the right of the current candle, right? That's very crucial. That's going to be step 5. Now, step 6 is when we're actually going to go in and add our horizontal lines, right? Step 6 is when we're going to go in and add our horizontal lines, and write this down. So we're still going to add 2 lines. Remember, you always add a horizontal line to the top of the candle and to the bottom of the candle regardless. Always, always, always. So we're going to add that top line, right? And again, we just added lines. We're only adding 4 lines. Nobody should be confused, right? So the top line, we're going to make that line red because when price hits that line, we know that we can sell. And we're going to put a line at the bottom of the candle too. All we're doing is making a box around this candle so we know that is the only thing we should be looking at, right? And we're going to make that bottom line blue. right? So now we know we're looking at this candle, right? We know that red line, 443 or higher is where we can sell at. And we know that blue line, 388 or lower is where we can buy at, right? If you guys can see what I'm doing, right? If you guys see this and you can understand what I'm doing, just drop a MS in the chat, right? For make sense. Okay, right? Because now we're just gonna put it all together, right? I had to give you guys the backstory, right, before we get into the juicy stuff. So you did all your steps. Now you coming in here and you actually going to be setting up your chart, right? So now we actually have a sell entry point and a buy entry point, so we can continue to collect the confirmations, right? Your horizontal lines, you're putting a line at the top of the candle and at the bottom of the candle. That's it. You put a line at the top of the candle and at the bottom of the candle. That's all we're doing, y'all. If it's the bottom line is blue, that tells us where we're getting in for a buy. The top line is red, that tells us where we're getting in for a sell, right? That's all we did was we put 4 lines, right? Now we can collect the confirmations. A blue candle, right? That's one. It says I'm breaking up, so I'm going to wait a few seconds. All right. All right. Am I good, y'all? Drop some 111s if I'm good. Okay. All right. So now, after we have figured out which candle we're going to focus on, now we're going to count the confirmations. So it's a blue candle. So I'm going to give 1 point to the buyers. That's why it's important that you write this down, right? I see that the candles are under the dot, right? So I'm going to give a point to the sellers, right? I see a gray pen down here on my second window. That's not blue or red. So I'm not going to give anybody a point, right? And if I look at my last window, y'all, who should get the last 2 points? The buyers or the sellers, right? Because these are two different, it's one indicator, 2 different points, right? Who gets the last 2 points, buyers or sellers? Right? I'm getting sellers. So if y'all following with me, the buyers, right, should only have 1 point and the seller should have 4 points. If y'all have the same thing that I have and y'all understand how I got there, drop yes in the chat. All right. All right. So when we put these lines on the chart, right, when you put these lines on the chart, it gives you your entry point. So we know that the red line for the sellers, and you can write this down on your paper, right? Of course, move on to the next candle, but let's just keep doing the previous analysis. We know that the selling point will be 443 or higher, and you can write this down. I cannot emphasize that enough. Until you get mad savvy, just write it down. And then we know that the buying point is going to be 388 or lower. But we're going to focus on the sell. Right? And then, of course, as a new candle forms, you just move your lines over so that you're only focusing on that candle, right? So I got 443 or high for a sell, 388 or lower for a buy. If you are using pocket option, yes, you do want to add your 5 points. But now, since we at least have both our entry points, let's go back to our scanner, right? So we know that our selling is going to be 443 or higher for a sell. The market is currently at 446. But remember, points, right? This is crucial. The deciding factor to if you get into the trade or not is going to be your market. Right? So even information I have at clearing this trade right now, tell me what percentage do we have at clearing this trade? The percentage that's shown here on the screen. All right, so the numbers change. The numbers change, y'all. What's the percentage now that we have at clearing the trade? Right? It looks like I have a 96% clearing the trade. So, and I have a high chance for a sell. I'm trying to get for a sell at 444. Oh, y'all, let's actually just do it on this candle now because we were still using the old candle. Let's do it on the new candle. Sorry. I'm going to just let that rock out. Let's start from the top. So we have... All right, I'm going to just take it from the top and find a new entry. We still got 2 minutes on that candle. Let's start to collect our points. Let's see if it's still the same. AC. All right, 1 point for the sellers. That's still the same. I see a blue candle. All right, that's 1 point for the buyers. I see 1, 2, 3. All right, it's still the same. All right, it's climbing. And you just adjust your lines you literally adjust your lines with the candle. So in this case, for a sell, now we have 470 or higher for a sell, 470 or higher for a sell, and 430 or lower for a buy, right? But remember, the market watch also needs to be in your favor. So let me write my new numbers down. 470 or higher for a sell, or 330 or lower for a buy. 330 or lower for a buy. Now, it's now going to be determined by the market watch. So as soon as this switches to in our favor and we have our entry point, we should be good to go. Right? We should be good to go. If you don't have the market watch, you want to click these 3 dots right here and click on this little thermometer. So click the 3 dots on pocket and then click the thermometer. So as you guys can see, if we would have taken that 470 sell, the market watch to actually get into our favor, right? Because if we get it now, we're probably going to get spiked out. Look at that. Probably going to get spiked out. So if and when you get into the trade, once all of your confirmations align, let me know what you take. If you take 430 or lower for a buy, or if you take 470 or higher for a sell. But remember, we have to wait for the market watch, right? If you get in now, you would have gotten spiked out. So I'm just going to patiently wait for everything to go on my face. Right, I'm gonna check back over here entry because the top of my candle has raised. So now it looks like 485 or higher and everything's in my favor. 485 or higher. I need a little bit more. I need 485 or higher because that's what my current candle is reflecting, right? And let's move our lines over. Let's keep up with the market, right? And let's wait for our entry. If and when you get in, drop your entry point in the chat. And of course, if you clear, 482, that's a little low. Actually, it's in the zone. I might take anything above 480, to be honest. It's in the zone. And we would be in profit. Shout out to y'all if y'all actually took the trade, right? If y'all actually took the trade, you should be in profit right now. Shout out to you, Jackie, 484. Shout out to you, Jamira, 484. The market watch should you just want it to be a majority in control. If somebody said I can give you $50 or I can give you $51 or $49, I'm taking $51. Right? I'm taking $51. Right? So it's like everybody got some really good entry points. When you guys clear this trade, just drop some money emojis in the chat. When you guys clear this trade, drop some money emojis in the chat. Shout out to 96 people still locked on the call. Shout out to Nisha clearing. Shout out to Lainey clearing. Shout out to Zamion clearing. Right? Shout out to Amber. Sending all the money emojis. Ruby, Kendra, Nikki. Everybody clearing. Josh, you always clear. I'm really not surprised. Nick, I know you clearing because you super smart. Shout out to you, Brianna. And look at this, y'all. Look at this. Look at this craziness, craziness. Now let's see if I get in now. And market watch wasn't in my favorite. Let's see what happens. Clear. People should still be clearing, right? It's still dropping, still dropping, still dropping, right? You just got in. The trade is almost not valid, as we can see it's playing, but I'm still in profit. Got in at 491, right? So remember, y'all, this is not a live trading session. This is more of a training session. But if you guys understand, I don't know where you got in. If you guys understand, right, VVS method, if you guys understand the VVS method and it make sense, right? Drop an S in the chat, and we're gonna do one. We're just gonna do one more trade. Let me see. I'm not sure, Lisa. I forget which one I use. I think I use real trading. I forget. We're gonna do one more trade just to show you guys again how to count these confirmations, right? We're gonna do this one more time just to show you how to count the confirmations. So we're gonna choose our currency pair, right? We're gonna go to Euro USD because Euro USD is paying out 84%. After we choose our currency pair, we're going to go ahead and choose our strategy. And we want to make sure that it's on the 5 minutes. Right? I'm just taking it from the top for people who still are maybe a little confused. I'm going to just do everything I just did over on a new currency pair. Sorry, y'all, this thing don't want to refresh. All right, there we go. There we go. So we got Euro USD. We want to put it on 5 minutes. Right? We want to get our VVSs going on, right? We want to get our 2 vertical lines, right? We got a vertical line. I'm going to make it black, right? And I'm going to make it a little bit thicker so I can see it. I'm going to put a line to the left of that candle. I'm going to put a line to the right of that candle. So now I know exactly what I should be looking at. But not only that, I'm actually going to set up my entry points for the buy and for the sell, right? I'm only doing this. I'm only putting a horizontal line at the top of the candle and at the bottom of the candle, right? At the top of the wick and at the bottom of the wick, right? Because I only want to focus on what is happening within that particular shape, right? So we got a new line. Let's move it over. Let's move this over. Let's move this over. Let's put our red for the candle. Let's put our blue line at the bottom of the candle. And now let's start to count our confirmations. If I go to Euro USD, we start our confirmations on live charts. Euro USD. Let me write this down. Euro USD. Buyers, sellers. Euro USD. All right, so sellers get 1 point. Sellers are going to get 1 point. You guys, if I'm not saying it, it's probably, I already answered the question about the folders. So if it's the red line, you want to write that down as your sell entry point is 123. So we're going to add 5 points. So let's just say 128 or higher for the sell. We're going to write that next to our S, 128 or higher. And then for the B, it's going to be 100 or lower. And we want to write this down just so you have it. You don't have to keep going back and forth. Now you count your confirmations. So I see a blue candle. That's 1 point for the buyers. I see that it's above the purple dot. That's another information for the line right here. So that's 3 for the buyers. I see a red cloud. I'm going to give 1 to the sellers. And I see a skinny blue line down here. So that's 4 for the buyers. So I have 4 buy confirmations at 100 or lower. And I have 2 sell confirmations at 128 or higher, right? Now, the deciding factor after you count your confirmations is going to be based on the market watch, right? So we have our entry points, 128 or higher, but the market watch is not in our favor, right? It's not in our favor. Now you could go ahead and get in. You could go ahead and get in, but if you got in for that sell, as you can see, it's still continuing to climb. That would not be a good look. We just want to wait until it comes back down, closer to our buy entry point. And I'm just going to refresh. As you can see, if you would have gotten in for that sell, even though it was at your entry point, you would have gotten spiked out. You would have gotten spiked out. The market is continuing to climb because there are more confirmations for the buy. All right. Let's see if it's going to come back down. We waiting for that 1 or lower for a buy. Let's see if we can get anything other than that. Maybe 115. Oh, it's going. It's going. It's going. Right? When you get into the trade, or if and when drop the entry point in the chat, because there's 100 or lower for the buy. Dang, let me get in. Oops. Sheesh, it put me in so much. Sorry, y'all. I got it mad times. Okay, I see somebody got that 096, 094, right? And we're currently in profit. If you are in profit right now, just drop in profit in the chat. If you are in profit, drop in profit in the chat. Right? All right, well, out of profit now, but let's see. Let's see. It's looking like some people are going to clear. This is going to be a very close one. That was a very close one, y'all. Very, very close. Did I clear? Oh, I did clear. Oh, no, I broke even. Yep, that was a break even. That was a break even. If you got in, some people cleared. Some people cleared. Broke even, not bad, not bad. Not bad, but is this making sense, y'all? The purpose is that, is this making sense? Is this making sense? Okay, awesome, 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 awesome. Oh, y'all, we probably lost because if we look back at the chart, look what happened. If we actually look at the chart, look what happened. We should have reassessed the market, right? And we should have changed our entry points, right? We should have reassessed and changed our entry points, right? We would have, if we would have changed it, we would have known that the new buy entry would have been 066 or lower, right? Do we understand why we lost that trade? Like, we understand why we lost, right? And this is why you must edit every single candle. We understand why we lost the trade or took a lesson or broke even. Drop. I understand in the chat. I understand. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So that's gonna wrap up today's training session, y'all. I think this was a good one. If you guys really follow these steps, guys, use the resources, use your market watch, you are going to have a higher chance at clearing your trade because you understand what you're looking at, right? So if you really understand it and you are excited to start trading on your own, just really go back to all your chats, go back to your private chats, go back to the RTP chat, Cosmic Club chat, Dream Chasers chat, any chat, and just drop, this is easy. This is easy. This is easy. This is so easy, right? And as always, I'm going to post this video in the Money Mantra channel so that you guys can watch it, rewatch it, and really internalize. I just feel like the trainings get better and better every single day. But again, just go back to your chats, especially the SBC Road to 30,000 chat. Say, this is easy. This is easy. This is easy. This is so easy, right? Family, and I will catch y'all Sunday night on the SBC session. And then we're back to training next week.